The New South Wales government's coal reservation scheme could fracture. We were talking about relations with Britain before. Well, there's now talk that this could fracture Australia's relationship with Japan, with the Japanese government fearing that it could cut the volume of export coal out there in the market. Caleb, I want to ask you about this here. I mean, Japan is a key security partner, and Japan is also one of those countries that still likes to burn a lot of coal and nuclear and buy a lot of Australian coal. So is this a good idea, now, this reservation program? I mean, I know what your answer is going to be, but what do we think about this new angle that, in fact, Japan also has an issue with that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't mind in principle the idea of us reserving coal for us to burn, because we should be burning it. But quite frankly, we have to ask the question, where are we going to burn it in Australia, given we're blowing up our own coal-fired power stations at a rate of knots? We have many countries around the world, Japan included, that are hungry for our coal, that use our coal to build up their own economies. If we're not going to use it here, and apparently within the next 20 years we're not going to be using it, we should be selling it overseas. I can understand why Japan would be concerned about us hoarding coal that we're in all likelihood not going to use, and in fact is probably not of the quality that we would use in Australia anyway.
Indeed. But Parnell, you have family from Germany. You have a lot of experience in that part of the world. Now, households in Victoria apparently are preparing for another hike to their gas bills, not their coal, gas, and some are going to be hit with another $1,000 a year. Why are our politicians here and our policymakers so narrow-minded and, uncosmopolitan when they like to think of themselves as very sophisticated and in touch with the world, in not looking at what's happening in a place like Germany with their energy bills and just simply importing the same problems here?
Yeah, there's an idea that we're just going to be able to solve it because Australia has so much wind and so much sun, and we can just solve the problems of renewable energy because we have so much of these natural resources, but these clean resources. But of course, in order to harness them, you need technology, which not even Germany has right now, and Australia certainly doesn't have, and we're not going to have without thermal coal, because it takes thermal coal to make wind turbines. It takes, all of these resources to make solar panels. So there really needs to be a plan. If we're going to go in for any kind of transition, there needs to be a plan which says this is the kind of power we need to use to get to this transition, and not pretend that we can just shut off all of the existing power sources overnight.
That's a novel idea, a plan, I tell you what.